Hello, my name is Maya Wax Cavallaro, and I'm a graduate student at UCSC. Thank you for checking out my poster presentation. I will be talking about spread glottis and final consonant allophony in Tz'utujil. This poster focuses on two phenomena, the aspiration of final stops and affricates, and final sonorant devoicing. In Tz'utujil syllable codas, simple stops and affricates are aspirated, while sonorants are devoiced. Nasals devoice only word finally. These phenomena are found throughout the Mayan language family, although aspiration is much more widely attested than sonorant devoicing. The closely related Quichean language Caxiquel has both final aspiration and final devoicing, but nasals do not devoice at all. Many Mayan languages have final aspiration but not final devoicing. Similar positional phenomena are found outside of the Mayan language family in languages such as Sierra Popaluca and Kashmiri. I will discuss how positional spread glottis constraints can account for the patterns found in Tz'utujil while also making typological predictions. I am specifically interested in discussing the apparent implicational relationships suggested by my analysis. These phenomena also raise questions about phonetically motivated alternations and the role of laryngeal features in the phonemic inventory and the phonology of languages like Tz'utujil. A little background. Tz'utujil is a Quichean Mayan language spoken in the highlands of Guatemala, or Guatemala, as some people say, in the area surrounding Lake Atitlan, or Tz'ununya. Tz'utujil contrasts a set of simple or pulmonic stops and affricates with a set of glottalized stops and affricates. Notice that this is not a voicing distinction. So I propose that there's a constraint against coda consonants that are minus spread glottis, and also a separate constraint against word final minus spread glottis consonants. Other markedness constraints penalize voiceless nasals, voiceless sonorants, and plus spread glottis segments. Ranking star voiceless nasal between star final minus SG and star minus SG coda allows for word final but not word medial nasal devoicing. You can see how these constraints produce the attested outputs in Tz'utujil. Examples 6 and 7 show how slightly different constraint rankings can produce different attested patterns of different languages. When star voiceless nasal is undominated, as in Caxiquel, nasals will not devoice. If star voiceless sonorant is similarly high ranked, a language may have aspiration but no devoicing. The constraint set I use here predicts that if a language has final sonorant devoicing, it will also have final obstruent aspiration. I would be interested to hear if this is indeed the case, or if anyone has evidence to the contrary. Similarly, based on my constraints, one would expect that if a language has final nasal devoicing, it will devoice other final sonorants as well. Simple obstruent aspiration does occur in a context I have not yet discussed, which appears to be the first consonant in complex onsets. Coda constraints may not be adequate to account for these data, but they also might. Because these forms are morphologically complex, it is not clear whether these are truly complex onsets. I can discuss this more if anyone would like. It is also hard to tell if this distribution is in fact different from that of final sonorant devoicing. Taking the data in 8 into account, it does seem that simple obstruents are unaspirated prevocalically and are aspirated elsewhere. This may lead one to wonder if these obstruents are in fact underlyingly aspirated. I think this is certainly a possibility. If we add something like a star aspirated consonant vowel constraint, an analysis like the one presented here should be able to produce the attested patterns regardless of whether the input forms are underlyingly plus or minus spread glottis. I'm happy to discuss this more as well. There are some accounts of Mayan final aspiration as a phonetically motivated alternation. Aspiration enhances phonetic cues to contrast between simple and glottalized obstruents in contexts in which those cues would typically be obscured. It is difficult, however, to find a phonetic motivation for final sonorant devoicing. Devoicing sonorants may make them harder to distinguish from one another and also from the set of voiceless fricatives. The case of Tz'utujil also poses an interesting puzzle for the contrastivist hypothesis, which proposes that the features active in a language's phonology should be the same features that are active in creating phonemic contrasts in that language. The case of Tz'utujil is an interesting one because, according to most accounts, neither voice nor spread glottis is contrastive in the language's phonemic inventory, yet at least one of those features is active in the phonological alternations. Overall, there's a lot of exciting laryngeal activity happening in Tz'utujil and in the Mayan language family. This analysis can account for some observed patterns, and it also makes predictions and raises a few interesting questions. I would love to discuss all of this further, Feel free to visit my Zoom room or send me an email. Thank you again for stopping by.